Hi, my name is Jessica. I am 36 years old. I wanted to just share my testimony, my story of everything I've gone through. So I'm going to try to make this under 5 minutes, hopefully. So I'm hoping I can keep your attention. I grew up in a loving family. Amazing family. My parents loved Jesus. They took us to church every Sunday, every Wednesday. As I got older, once I hit puberty, I started getting sick. My stomach would get upset all the time. I started to develop migraines all the time. I started to, there were times I was in so much pain it would make me nauseous. And it was mainly like the abdomen or below. And then also I would just throw up out of nowhere. And so I didn't know what was going on. It's really hard when growing up, like, we know more now in society than we knew then, because we have the internet. Shows my age. But we couldn't just look things up. We had a medical dictionary, but obviously nowadays, like, it could be, it's expanded. So I remember getting made fun of in school, being called the sick girl. And I was told by people I was a hypochondriac. This is horrible. Luckily, it didn't affect me. But I remember, growing up, and they're no longer around. So, it's okay. Things are different. It's been a while. I remember deacons would come over because, my mom would pray for me and everything. And she's like, well, let me call the church and have people come pray with you and everything. And this was my church back in Pennsylvania. And, oh yeah, that's where I grew up. I grew up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She would call and they would send over a deacon and they would pray for me. And I'll never forget one time someone was like, Jessica, did you sin? Did you do something wrong? Was it something you did that caused all this? And I remember, like, I was speechless. I didn't know what I did. I'm just this young teenage girl who, sheltered herself because of being so sick. And so I was like, I don't know. And so as I got older, things would still, my stomach would get like super upset at times. And I just learned to live with it. And then graduated. I moved away from ministry school because I felt called into ministry, and I did not know what that would look like. And I still dealt with stuff. I would go up for prayer for healing. Still dealt with stuff. Everything like that. And I remember beating myself myself up because I felt like I didn't have faith. Like, that's how I felt. I wanted so badly to be healed, and I knew Jesus was our healer, but then I would beat myself up and say I didn't have faith. And I think that's a lie that, you know, someone made up somewhere, where they say if you're not healed when you get prayer, you don't have faith. And I remember thinking, I don't have faith. I don't. And so I continued to deal with that. And a while later, I met my husband, Philip, who is 2 years younger than me. I robbed the cradle. Not that bad, just 2 years. Okay, I went over 5 minutes and this is gonna go longer, so I apologize. And I continued to get sick. You know, he witnessed, you know, there were times I would just get sick, or I was in pain, or, you know, nothing was explained. And finally we got engaged, and then we got married. And I'm gonna be very, 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 like, transparent. And my dream is to eventually, and I feel like this is what God has placed on my heart, is to share this in a ministry setting. I don't know when that will be. It could be 10 years from now, it could be 5 years from now, it could be 20 years from now, I have no idea. But to share this in a different setting. But we had some difficulty when we first got married, you know, when we were intimate with each other. It physically hurt. And I felt bad because, you know, I didn't want him to think it was his issue, you know, because it was me. And I would sit in the shower floor, and I would cry. Because I knew there was something wrong with me. I finally went to the doctor, and she had been seeing me anyways. And I told her, and I remember that's the question she asked me, and she said, okay, you need to go see an OBGYN. And I was like, okay, like, I didn't know what, I'm gonna be honest, I had never been to an OBGYN. Hold on, sorry, I had to mute my computer. I didn't know what that was. Anyways, fast forward. So, they found out that I had endometriosis, which is a disease, it's an autoimmune disease, and what happens is during the menstrual cycle of a woman, the blood backs up into your uterus and creates scar tissue. And basically your body starts attacking itself. The scar tissue can spread. And so, and that's how my doctor explained it to me. And so he said to me, it was a woman at first. She said to me, if you want to have children, you need to start trying now, because basically you will most likely not have any kids. And I remember I was on birth control, and it was like, I remember sitting Number one, I was cold because I had one of those gowns on, and I was sitting in this room, and she had to leave the office for a second. And the weight of that hit me. That there could be a possibility I might not be able to have kids. And the first thing I thought of was I had some amazing teaching put into me, amazing foundation of who God was and is. And I knew that God could do a miracle because I had seen it. It was like someone punched you right in the gut. You know, it's almost like someone coming up to you and be like, I'm gonna have to cut off your leg. Boom. Like, and really, it's detrimental. So, obviously we start trying, and I'll never forget. I was late, and I was like, I didn't want to like jump the gun and be like, I'm pregnant. I remember learning about the God advantage and learning that when you're faithful to God, and the good and the bad, God is going to back you up. And so there were some bad, tough situations that I went through, and just mentally fighting this battle in my mind of not having faith, but knowing that I trusted in the Lord, and it was rough. However, I'd go to church, and I'd put on a smile, and I would try, and I would act like I was okay, and I would never tell anybody, because I didn't want that stigma of not having faith. And that's not what people thought, but it was what it was my mindset that I had. And so anyways, so I remember the first time I knew something was off was I love bacon, and my husband had made bacon, and I got so sick. I felt so nauseous. I was like, something is wrong. So, needless to say, I got pregnant. And he's a little fighter in there, because he tried coming multiple times, to the point of needing to go on bed rest. And so we obviously had a beautiful baby boy, and I'll never forget when the doctor, they had to call on call to do cesarean because I had to have an emergency C-section, and he was going through my, records, and when he said, so what, like, let me check this. Oh, so you have endometriosis. I was like, yeah. And so he looked at how bad it was, and he was like, wow, like, this baby's a miracle. And I remember just like the faithfulness of God. And that's when I was like, I do have faith. Faith as small as a mustard seed can do a lot. And so, fast forward, I got many surgeries after that. switched doctors many times. Um, I had to get many surgeries to scrape out the endometriosis because, scrape it out, and then you would have to, try again to get pregnant. However, scar tissue would build up from all those surgeries. I don't understand it, but it would just get worse, and there was times where they went in and my ovary was plastered against my uterus, so they had to kind of peel it away. They didn't have to take it, and every time I got the surgery, and even from the beginning, the doctor was like, you need to get a hysterectomy. I was like, no, I do not. And so we would pray and seek God, and I was like, God, I know you can do it again. I know you can give me a miracle baby. And I went through a lot of hard times going through this, because we did fertility treatments, and we had to resign ourselves. I remember the doctor said, next time you have a baby, we'll do a C-section, and we'll go ahead and just take out, give you a hysterectomy and take out all your female organs then. So that was kind of like in the corner of my mind. But we tried and nothing happened. Some women would understand. I feel like women understand a lot more of you don't want to get yourself too hopeful, but month after month, that disappointment really just kind of stabs you in the gut every month when you can't have a kid. And so we decided, I was 31 years old. I had been on a fertility treatment, and I was late, and something went wrong, and I started to bleed a lot, and so I don't like talking about that one because it was on my husband's birthday. I remember asking the doctor if it was a miscarriage, and he said, if it was, it's a really early one, so you should be grateful. A miscarriage is a miscarriage. Like, that is a very weighty thing to carry, on top of everything else. And so, we'd have to explain to Ethan, he was 6. Yeah, he was 6 at the time. That we had made a decision that Mommy is not going to have any more babies, because during that time they had thrown me into artificial menopause by giving me shots every 3 months, and it was just a 6-month treatment, so I got 2 shots, and it was supposed to kill the endometriosis, and then we were going to thrust my body back into its normalcy and have kids. And it didn't happen. my body fought against it, and the endometriosis continued to grow through it. The doctor couldn't explain it. So that was frustrating. So he sat down with us and we went over the options and we decided, okay, like this is what we're gonna do. Because I wanted to be relieved of pain, because the pain was so bad. And it wasn't just around that time of the month. It was, I've probably had like a week out of a month that I would be feeling okay. But I would even then like push through the pain. And in my mind, then pushing through the pain was trying to show a statement that I'm okay, that nothing's wrong, my emotions are intact. Basically, putting on a mask and not really showing that I was hurting. Some people knew, trusted people, trusted community, knew that it was a struggle for me. But so we decided that was what we were going to do, and so we got that done. I was 31 years old when that happened. I got everything removed, my fallopian tubes, my cervix, my uterus, my ovaries, everything was gone. The doctor came in, and I remember him telling us that he was very happy that, oh my Lanta, I've gone like 20-some minutes. Hopefully you're still watching. But it's a long story. My life. It's my life. He said, I'm glad we did what we did, because everything was destroyed. Basically the disease was attacking from the inside out. So chances of me bearing a child were basically nothing. Very, 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 very slim. So we were pretty happy, like, okay. And no one really ever prepared me. And I did not prepare myself for what I was about to deal with after the hysterectomy. So, as you know, men and women have hormones that certain parts of the body help create. And the main source of hormones was from my ovaries, and now they're gone. So I had to go on hormone treatments to help stabilize myself again. So, take a tablet once a day, and this would give you your estrogen, your progesterone. Yes, women create testosterone, and so I'd have to take that every day. It took a long time until they figured out like what hormone actually fit right, like actually worked. But during that time, I started to get depressed. I didn't feel like a woman anymore. I would compensate for my compensate for not feeling like a woman by buying dresses, which was not me. Tomboy all the way, but I would buy dresses like crazy. I have a closet full of dresses. I'm not kidding. That I don't even wear. Only on special occasions. But and right after, I felt like I needed to just pick myself up and keep going. I didn't give myself time to heal. After the hysterectomy, I was just automatically threw myself back into everything, all activities. And back then I didn't know what rest was, what true rest was. And so it was rough. I remember just like having these manic episodes of like 1 minute I'm fine, the next minute I'm angry, the next minute I'm bawling my eyes out, the next minute I'm yelling, the next minute I'm just, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It was. During that time, I was told I was a bad mom. I was told that I had no faith. Don't worry, it wasn't my husband. If anything, he was very understanding. When statistics say that women who deal with infertility diseases and eventually get a hysterectomy end up in divorce. The majority of women, and I knew some of those women at work who that's what happened to them. I would pray. And I remember the day I got my hysterectomy, I was laying on the floor. And I remember listening to a song, and it was talking about how basically the suffering you're going through now would be all for His glory. And I was like, how? Like, how is this going to be all for His glory? Like, I'm losing a part of me. And I was like, God, okay. I was like, I'm not going to doubt you through this. And I remember feeling like God was not close to me. I felt like He wasn't listening. I felt like He was far away. And there'd be times I'm in the bathtub and I would just cry and I would just pray. And it got so bad to the point of thinking that Philip and Ethan would be better off without me. But I just would rather be with Jesus. And because the pain returned, but this time it was all over my body. And I felt like maybe I'm making this up. Like, what's wrong with me? And and I remember it was a Thanksgiving day, and I knew how to start a fight. You don't my maiden name is Nearhoof, and we always say you don't mess with a Nearhoof. It's true. And I left, and I took a drive, and I wanted to commit suicide, and obviously I didn't know how to do it. And during that time, it was insane because a friend had texted me saying how much they appreciate me and they're grateful that I'm in their life and how much they love me. And in an instant, everything changed. I didn't want to do that anymore. I remember coming home. I was very, very, very upfront and real with Philip. He knew I struggled with it, with suicidal thoughts, and that's when we decided, okay, we need to go a different route. We need to find another doctor who's actually going to help, which we did, try the natural routes, all the different stuff. So we did, and we finally got my hormones in check, and I really think that had a lot to do with it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when your hormones are off, is bad. Like, guys, when your girl every month has their hormones go crazy once a month, you better back off, because it's a real thing. It's real. Because hormones affect the chemicals in your brain. They affect your body in different ways. So finally got that straightened out. Everything was fine. I had actually started listening to these different podcasts and everything, and met with a friend, and she just poured into me, and she was just like, Jessica, I feel like we're in a season that God is listening. And I remember driving home from that meeting, and in my mind, I'm a very visual person, very imaginative. I was a soldier, and I had armor on. However, my armor was dinged up. There were cuts through my armor, so I was bleeding. I was worn out. I was tired. I wanted to surrender. I wanted to give up. And I was supposed to go in and go to the king. The king had summoned me. And I went in, and I walked up, and I sat down, and I said, in a really soft voice, Your Majesty. And in that moment, it's like the king was looking at the side. And he put his hand up to his ear, and he looked at me. And it's like he was showing me he was listening. And that's when everything changed. That's when everything changed. I found out then that I struggled with another autoimmune disease called fibromyalgia. And a lot of times women don't want to be told that they have fibromyalgia because people look at you like you're crazy. That something's wrong. Like you make everything up, which really it is the brain sending signals to the nerves. It's the pain signals, and it's heightening the pain in your body. We feel pain more than other people. Pain just out of nowhere. And so I had to deal with that. I still deal with that. I got on medication, which I'm going to show you. As 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's all for my fibromyalgia that I have to take daily. Put this over here now. And then I finally went to a different doctor and we got my hormone in check in a different way. And I'm on a hormone. So there's that. So needless to say, I can't have kids and I'm in pain all the time. However, I do have my moments where I get so frustrated that I feel like I'm gonna live with this for the rest of my life. That I'm sorry, that was my foot against the chair. It didn't toot, if you're wondering. I have those moments of fear where I feel like I'm gonna live like this for the rest of my life. Like I would make plans and then I'd have to cancel them because of the pain. The weather was affecting the pain. It would get really bad. Stress, anything like that would affect the pain, and I was in pain 24/7. Still I am. I deal with pain all the time. This time, I deal with something else that popped up. I'm going to tell you what it's called. Inflammation of the sternum. It's called costochondritis. It's known as a chest wall pain. And it's acute and often temporary inflammation of the costal cartilage, the structure that connects each rib to the sternum, at the joint, and it causes chest pain. So this is what happens. For the longest time, I thought it was heartburn. I didn't know until my doctor told me, like, this is what you're dealing with. My sternum will inflame, which obviously your body has a nervous system and you have nerves everywhere. And you have nerves in your chest cavity, and obviously there's ribs that go into your back. And it hurts so bad to the point of I can't breathe. And sometimes it hurts so bad that it hurts to eat. And I have anxiety. Like, it brings on anxiety. I've learned in those times, because it is true, you grow older and you grow wiser, hopefully. But I really feel like those who stick with Jesus and read his word understand that he only wants good for us. That he doesn't cause this. He uses it to bring a testimony forth from it. But there is an enemy out there that is out there to kill, steal, and destroy. And so, but my God is good, and he only wants good for me. And so, I've seen his faithfulness in our finances. Even when I lost my job before, like a few months ago. I have an 11-year-old who's amazing. Amazing. He's amazing. Even though sometimes he frustrates me. Because he's going through puberty. He is amazing. So yeah. But I've learned that I push through the pain, but I'm vulnerable with people about it. I know my limits though. Like, I'll push and I'll be like, okay, my limit, I've hit my limits, and I'll let people know. I can't do this. I've hit my limit, I'm done. Or, like, I have to think ahead. And, like, plot out the weather. Plot out the moon phases. Obviously, eat healthy. And so, this is my life. This is what I have to do. But I want to be a living testimony of the goodness of God. And so, for example, today I sang in worship. And you'll never see me just stand there during worship. I will always give him praise. And there was a phrase that I was taught a while ago. Oh, if God is doing an inward work, there's going to be an outward expression towards him. So you're giving worth to him. So inward, outward. He's been doing an inward work in me. I've seen his faithfulness. I know he's a good God. I have seen him move in our lives. I've seen him provide our family an amazing community of people that I call my family, who I'm real with, who I'm vulnerable with, who, I can say I'm struggling, and they'll right then pray for me. In the middle of the foyer, pray for me. During worship, pray for me. Because most of the time I'm running around with a camera and taking photos. But again, today, there is going to be an outward sign that God is working inward. even though I may be standing up there, and today I wasn't in pain until we have 3 services, the 3rd service, and I started getting the chest pain. My hands already hurt, like the joints hurt, and my back hurt, but the chest pain, and I was like, But that didn't mean I was going to give any less. Because he's worthy. He's worthy of it all. He's worthy of my all. He's worthy of everything. I've gone through those times where I sang a song, and it was funny because my worship leader, she gave a testimony after, and I was like, man, I was thinking like the same thing. When I was at my lowest, you still were on the throne. And when I was a long way off, you ran to bring me home. And that's what I feel like my life transpired to be. And I remain faithful to God in everything we do. I've seen opportunities come about and things happen that, in all honesty, physically I would not be able to even accomplish. But I feel like God has been working on our behalf because of being faithful to Him, because of not giving up. Yes, there was a time I wanted to give up. There was a time I was done. But God used others to come in and speak life into me. He used my husband, who had patience, even though I know he gets frustrated because I'm in a lot of pain. Certain days I'm done. I'm so done. I have brain fog. I can't think. I fumble my words. But He's still on the throne. God is still on the throne. No matter what you're going through, He's still on the throne. And when you treat Him as so, your life is good, no matter what you go through. You could go through the roughest time, but He's still on the throne. And it brings so much joy to your heart knowing that I serve a big God who is limitless. We can't even fathom, our minds can't even fathom how big He is and the things He can do. So that's basically my testimony. I still struggle. I still go through what I go through. But God is still on the throne. God is still good. I make sure my son knows. He knows what I deal with. But God is still good. I have learned to be vulnerable with people. I've learned to not question my faith. Because I know I have faith that I will continue to get prayer for healing, and continue to get prayer for healing, and continue to get prayer for healing, and continue to get prayer for healing, until one day I will be healed. I am confident in that I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Confident. So, I'm also human. I do have my days where I have my friend, my good old comrade, who I trust and I go to and bawl my eyes out and know that she'll drop everything to pray for me and speak over me and speak life and speak the word of God. And today she told me, she's like, you have a powerful testimony that I feel like God is going to use. And so I thought, why not just create this? And it is almost an hour long. And so I don't know if you have watched this whole thing. I don't even know if this will upload. But I'm gonna try. So, yeah. So anyways, I hope this encourages you. And my prayer is that I hope eventually I will reach others, women, including men, that this will be something that my husband and I can get up and say, we have gone through this, we have gone through the fire, but Jesus was with us in that fire. And we walked out and we were not burned. And we still go through struggles, but we have a different mindset. Our mindset has completely changed. We have a foundation, that even though my body will shake and the earth may shake around me, my spirit and my soul will not be shaken because I know that God is good. So yeah, I'm gonna keep on going if I continue to do this. So I really do hope you watch the whole thing, and I really hope it encourages you, and I really hope that this speaks to maybe a couple that's going through something. People go through this. And it is a very frustrating thing. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how people go through it without Jesus and the Holy Spirit. But one day, I will be off all my medication. One day, I will be healed. Till then, you will see me praising God with all I have. You will see me worship Him and give Him worth and praise because He's good. And He only wants good for me and my family. And He only wants good for you. Even though you may be having anxiety and those anxious things may be happening, God wants to heal and deliver you and use you and use your story and your testimony to speak to others how you were healed, So yeah, He's still on the throne. He is a healer. He's a provider. He's my shelter. He's my strong tower. He's my shield. He is my Lord. He is my King. He is so much to me. And He is good. He's a good Father. So yeah. Okay, I need to stop because I almost hit an hour. Sorry. This was not 5 minutes. So yeah.